So here's an idea. Instead of watching another motivational video, what if you actually learned how motivation works in your mind, in your emotions? What kind of mechanism makes it work? And most importantly, how do you actually create something like that in your own brain? Because all these motivational videos, all they're doing is stimulating in you in a way in which you could stimulate yourself if you knew how. The problem, of course, is you don't probably, or at least not consciously. So you're forced to run back to the video, run back to the video, run back to the music, to the whatever, right? Personally, this is why I don't like that very much. I don't like that side of self-development, of positive psychology, all of that. That's sort of a overinflated, like fake happiness, all of that stuff. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna explain to you the two most important things, which is the main type of motivation. In other words, why is the motivational video working for you? It's gonna be this sort of a upper area, and in the lower area, I'm gonna explain to you how do you actually create motivation for anything in your life yourself. Just how do you actually do that mechanically, okay? Because what I believe and what this channel is fundamentally about in intrapersonal intelligence. What is that? It's the intelligence of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your inner states. It's understanding of that. It's learning that. It's learning to utilize that. It's becoming better at doing everything internally, right? It's having the intelligence to do that, because I got interested in this many years ago, probably 15 years ago, because I was maturing. Now I'm 33. I was getting into my late teens, and I realized that I want to do so many things, whether it's professional, studying, and with the relationships, socialization, sports, and creativity, and all that. And yet my brain or my mind is getting in the way, right? How do I motivate myself? How do I discipline myself? So I spent many years meditating and doing all kinds of stuff, right? Learning that stuff. And it helped me tremendously. And I still can't believe it's still not as popular to teach interpersonal intelligence as it should be, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do. Once you learn this, if you just apply this, that's it. Motivation is solved for you. Obviously, you'll have to practice it to get good at it. But this solves pretty much everything. It's a condensation of everything that I learned in like 10 and 15 years about motivation, simplified. So let's start. You're watching a motivational video. It's usually one of the two formats for a motivational video, or most of the time a mixed format. It's something along the lines of, look at this beautiful girl, or a Bugatti, or an island, something very nice. You like nice things, don't you? Combined with, but you don't want to be a loser. Being a loser is awful. Do you know how it feels bad when you're a loser? Just life sucks, right? You don't want to be stuck there for the rest of your days, do you? Look at this Bugatti. Bugatti and a hot girl. So great, isn't it? Don't be a loser. Why is the structure of every motivational video the same? Yes, I'm oversimplifying. Yes, Rocky motivational videos are awesome. I love them too. Listen. Or, some Lord of the Rings charging scenes, of the Rohirrim. Absolutely amazing. But why is it mainly composed of these two elements? These cliche, motivational videos? Well, because here's the thing. Human motivational systems are based on two things. First of all, there's somebody chasing you, right? There's somebody going towards you, and you're going, I do not want this. I do not want this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to run away from that. That's the motivational video that is basically telling you that you're a loser, and it really sucks being a loser, doesn't it? So when you hear that, you're like, yeah, man, right? This is why you might not be motivated for work, but when the tax collector and rent comes up, you're like, okay, fine, just can somebody give me a job for a day or two so I can cover, the remaining sum or something? You'll be pretty motivated to work then. This is why after a bad breakup, you're like, I'm going to hit the gym now. I'm going to change myself and become a totally different person. That's part of the reason. You want to run away from these things. Now, that's great, but there's also negatives to it. Well, the negative is that usually when you experience negative motivation, it's not from a good life, let's put it that way. And what that means is that it is based on stress, it's based on anxiety, it's based on pain. Over the long term, if you utilize this type of motivation, you will, at the very least, be functioning inefficiently. In other words, you'll use up more energy, more psychological capital to accomplish your goals. Because, just try being stressed or angry for a day or two and compare that to a day when you're just like relaxed and motivated. Which one is, more taxing on you? Obviously, the first one. So this is a motivation that is essential, but it's burning you up quickly, and especially if it's chronic, right? Where you just develop belief systems where you really hate everything about yourself, you hate your life, and it becomes chronic. It doesn't make logical sense anymore, but you're still running away from things. You achieve something and then you're up, yeah, but I'm still a loser. I still have to run away from myself. That's a bad life. You're never going to be happy. You're always going to be miserable. So this type of motivation is good in two cases. It's good when you're starting out, and starting out can last for years and years in a way if you're really trying to reprogram yourself into more positive motivational states, which I'll talk about next. So it's good for those initial kicks, and it's good for those unfortunate force majeures or whatever that happen in life inevitably. Something tragic will happen, something hard will happen, you will get fired out of a job, or your business will go down under, you will get dumped, the economy will crash, something will happen which will stress you out. But ideally, what you want to do in that scenario is utilize this motivation to create, and remember, I'll tell you how to create these mechanisms in your psyche later, how to create a positive motivational mechanism. In other words, there's something that you want to go towards. You want to reach something. And why is it positive? It's positive because obviously nothing bad has happened to you. So it's not based out of something bad happening to you. It's just that you want to get something. Now, yes, it can lead to attachment. It can lead to materialism, which it's a different kind of suffering. But for now, we're just simplifying it into, there's many things I can talk about. In this video, let's simplify it into two, a simple polarity, or a binary. So that's a positive type of motivation. So the difference between these two would be, this is you going, I'm a fat, disgusting loser and I hate myself and this is awful, versus, dude, working out feels amazing. I just love eating like fresh food and it just makes me feel good and amazing and so on and so forth. You see the difference, right? This is better for long term. This is better for long term because you're more positive, you're more driven, you're more like, ooh, there's something exciting waiting for me in the future, which makes you a more lighthearted, relaxed person, which is nice, because you don't want to be suffering for your whole life. It's a hard life to be suffering forever. You don't want that. So you want to try to build out systems of motivation that are like that, okay, that are positive. And if you do have negative motivational systems, you want to use that energy of negativity to push yourself towards that. In other words, if you get dumped and you're like, I'm gonna get jacked right now because I was a loser and I hate myself and that's probably why I got dumped, you want to go, you know what? I found something else in life. I actually work out 4 or 5 times a week right now because working out is amazing. I love working out. Working out is so fun. I'm really getting jacked. I feel energized. I feel like a man or whatever. Feeling really hot if I'm a chick, whatever. You want to get to that place. So now that we've covered 2 main types of motivation, an important aspect of that, or the next step is, well, how do you create that? How do you systematically create and maintain that? And yes, motivation has its limitations. Motivation is the spark that you should use to develop systems, discipline, and habits so that you don't have to be like always excited about going to the gym. Sometimes you're just going out of a certain kind of positive inertia that you have created for yourself. Once you've created it, you just sort of maintain that. However, it's an invaluable tool. And some people that just go and say, oh, just do it, motivation is relevant. It's a bit of a catchphrase because it's like, no, motivation is the core element of doing anything. If you don't have motivation, you won't be able to do anything anyway, okay? So you have to know how to create it. And there are two ways to creating it. Now, the two components, this is why we have a poorly drawn head, which I'm pretty good at drawing actually, but this is not a good head. We have two parts of, let's say, the motivation that is in your head, brain, that psyche, whatever, that you want to create it with, okay? Two elements. And it's always the same two elements. It's always working on the same two elements in one way or another. The first is the structure, okay? Structure. Oh my God, this is structure. This is so awkward writing it from this angle. What do I mean by structure? Structure is the mental framework, the intellectual framework for whatever is it that you're doing. Now, you might think this is relatively simple, but I would disagree, because structure is the general view of life. Structure is the general view of the things that you're doing. Structure is the value set. Structure is what is good in life and what is bad in life. A lot of things depend on structure. See, you might be like a type of person that, oh dude, I just buy soda every day because it's fine. It's like, that's kind of an intellectual structure around your diet, around soda consumption, right? If you think that, then you're not going to be very motivated to not drink soda because you think it's totally fine to drink liquid sugar every day or multiple times a day. As long as you believe that, as long as you maintain that sort of a mental structure in your head, there's no way that you're going to motivate yourself to not drink that type of soda every day. And it goes for everything else. If you think that, well, working out is just stupid, it's for jocks and it's nonsense anyway, something stupid along those lines, and I can say that because that's what I used to think as a pseudo-intellectual teenager. I think, why would I have to work out? It's like, I'm very intelligent, and intelligent people don't have to work out. I know, I was an arrogant little shit. Structure. So if I keep thinking it like that, I'm not going to have the motivation. And by the way, just hold on. Yes, you will understand with the second part incoming why this creates motivation, and then I'll explain a bit about the brain and how it all comes together. You want to structure your life, and to structure your life, you really have to do an analysis of what you believe. What do you believe about fitness? What do you believe about health? Like, do you actually believe that it's okay to consume trash food? Do you actually believe that, I don't know, it's okay to drink alcohol every day? They actually believe that it's okay to be slothful, They actually believe that it's okay to disregard your relationships. All of these things. Whereas, by the way, like the tendency that we all have, is to always sort of protect ourselves, right? And to say that we're actually good people. We're one of the good ones. Yeah, but what do you actually believe? Like, how do you actually act? This is what you want to analyze. You want to analyze the real you, the real way that you behave, and the real way that you look at life. So once you do that, you want to get into the second part of it, which is the emotion. Yes, the emotion, the weird thing, the abstractness of it, the thing that us intellectuals or pseudo-intellectuals tend to neglect and pretend that it doesn't exist. But you only do things because you consider those things important, and you consider things important only because they have a certain kind of emotional charge for you. If a thing does not have an emotional charge for you, you're not going to do it, okay? You only do things because you either really hate something about something and you want to get away from there as far as possible, or you really want something. It really titillates you, okay? In general, the way that we live is based, like the way that we orient ourselves is based on meaning, right? We're not rational creatures. Rationality is something that we utilize sometimes, but we don't marry people purely out of economic interest unless you're like in that type of culture, right? We don't even pick jobs that are purely economically well for us. We will try to pick a job that we like or whatever, even if it's among the jobs that make more money, even if we're trying to be rational. So there's many things that in which we're not rational. We're not emotional creatures. And you have to understand that if you want to move your psyche, if you want to utilize this thing, right, instead of it utilizing you or being a leaf in the wind, you have to accept the fact that emotion is a part of it, okay? Emotion is that intensity. Emotion is structure is saying working out is healthy for your body and system, which is like everybody knows this, right? Of course, you have to really think about this, structure your mind in a way where you appreciate that fact, but you also have to feel excited when you do this. Any type of inner work that you do, if you want to do like more intense inner work, it'll involve some kind of active meditations, which is basically utilizing the emotions, creating anchors, creating associations for the things that you do, so that when you do them, right, it's a nice anchor to have, right? In other words, you want to have a positive emotion to the thing, right? There's many ways to do this. It's in a way a broad topic, which like involves various types of practices. In simple terms, just very simple terms, what this means that what you want to do is, let's say you want to start working out. I always use this example because working out and getting in shape is the most obvious thing theoretically, but so many people fail at it. It's just work out and eat appropriate amounts. That's it. You'll get ripped, you'll lose all the weight. Everything is so simple, there's nothing to talk about. Yet we have a multi-million fitness industry. Why? Because people struggle with these elements. They say, I should be doing it, so structurally, okay, it's a good thing, I admit it. But they don't feel the right emotions. And the right emotions means you have to feel a proper excitement for it. And in order to feel the proper excitement for it, you have to condition your mind and your brain to get a bit of a salivating dog effect when you think about going to the gym. The simple terms of building that out is creating positive reference experiences. So going for, you never hit the gym ever, and then I'm like, I'm gonna hit the gym for 5 times a day, 2 times a day. It's like, that's stupid. You're gonna hate it. Your first goal, if you wanna build motivation, is to create positive reinforcement loops. You wanna do 10 push-ups a day, but you do them with full focus, and you set your mind before doing the pull-ups that, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy every pull-up. You do them, or whatever, or push-up, and then you go, yeah, this felt great, right? Maybe you lose 1 little pound and you go, oh yeah, this feels great. You utilize your mind with active meditation, some sort of visualization where you see yourself really enjoying the process. When you're doing it, you're really enjoying the process. Why are you doing this? You do this to establish a kind of a frame for your mind, a kind of a network, a neural network where you feel excitement when you think about working out. This is important. 99% of people will totally gloss over this. They'll say, what is this circle jerk? Why are you talking about these irrelevant things? And it's like, dude, this is how I solved my social anxiety and managed to create a huge group of friends. This is how I solved pretty much all of my problems with intimate relationships, attracting women and all that. This is how I solved my work ethic problems because I had bad work ethic when I was a kid. This is how I solved my fitness issues. I'm not a huge sports guy, but I work out all the time to maintain like a lean shape. This is how I solved my creativity issues. I draw a lot. I also DJ, and before I used to have very blockages in terms of creativity. I solved those. I solved all of those, and of course many other aspects that I talk about in all these videos. But this is a big thing that I spent a lot of time. And by the way, this type of mechanical stuff that I'm talking about, you only need to do that in the beginning. And especially if you haven't learned to approach it like this, only at the start of your overall journey. Once you learn this, once you become okay with this, that becomes your typical way of operating, your typical way of doing things. So when you utilize this and that together, okay, and you train that and you practice that, it becomes a mental habit. And what will happen is at first, it'll become a little bit of a weird sort of mental exercise that you do, right? Before you do it, you reinforce this, you practice this, you practice this. At first, it'll become like a little weird experiment that you do. But very soon, it'll start becoming something more. Very soon, you'll start experiencing the motivation more and more intensely, if you get more capable of these types of processes, you can develop very intense motivation, right? And then it all starts clicking together. Remember, your brain can rewire itself. Neuroplasticity is the capacity of the brain to rewire itself. The things that you feel inside yourself, the things that are easy for you to feel and that are used to feeling all the time, these things are habits. Everything is a habit in a way. And you can utilize that for your advantage. So you can train those things and you can become motivated at the thing that you want to be motivated. It's a thing that you can train yourself into. So if you don't feel very motivated about it, that's not a reason to stop or to think that it doesn't work. It's just that you haven't put in the work. So utilize the principle of first starting small and building these small little habits, but very sort of positively inclined, right? Where the structure is great, the emotion is great, and you just keep on working to building the intensity of that. Soon you'll have the intense motivation that you need, and everything will become very simple for you. Of course, after a while, you will use the motivation to create new habits, new frameworks, establish a kind of a discipline, and after a while you won't need that motivation all the time, but it will be there for you to tap into. And when a new challenge arises, when you need to start doing a new thing, you will know that the first thing that you have to do when you're starting a new thing is to establish this very properly. If you establish this very properly, a lot of things will become easy for you. And after a while, it'll become just sort of automatic doing it like that. Remember, as a human being, you're living in a psychological reality. It's unavoidable. It's inescapable. You can try to avoid it. You can try to pretend that it doesn't exist, but it's there, and it's better to understand how it works and to utilize it to your advantage. If you're not utilizing this to your advantage, what are you doing? Why are you not utilizing this to your advantage? Take it. Use it. It's there to be used, and it's better that you do use it. So here's how you develop the motivation. Here's how you stop watching motivational videos and feel that type of motivation inside yourself. I have experimented a lot with this, and the intensity of motivation that you can get from this is extreme, right? And you don't even need to be in that motivation all the time. It's just that you do the practices and you really get deep into it and you really feel it. And then you have that reference experience, right? Then if you're not even feeling it at the moment intensely, you're like, oh yeah, but I do remember getting so intensely motivated about this thing that, yeah, how about I go do it, right? You have the reference experience. Your brain rewired a little bit and now you're capable of doing it. Another thing, by the way, is, you know that like your brain reacts to the thoughts that you have. It's a proven thing, right? The secretion of your hormones, whether it's stress or pleasure hormones, it's dependent also on your thoughts. So when you're controlling these things, you're also controlling the chemistry of your body, right? Which, when you think about it, it's like it's probably better to be in some positive, motivated state where you're like, yeah, let's go do it, right? So you'll be chemically in a better place to go and achieve your goals. So that's how you do that, right? When I work with people, we really get down into this process and how to apply it to your specific situations. So you can check it out. I'm currently opening up a few coaching spots and you can hop on a free discovery call just to see what it's all about if you want. The link is below. But this is powerful stuff. You really want to get down into it and understand how it's utilized. It'll change a lot of things in your life, and you'll understand yourself way better once you get a little practice in this process. So try it out. It's actually very easy. It's just a bit of a different way of doing things, and it'll be of huge benefit to you. Trust me.